Okay, so we're talking about conflicts of interest that brokers face, that good brokers overcome and do the right thing on behalf of their client, and where bad brokers succumb to the temptations to put themselves ahead of their client's best interests. And we've talked about a lot of issues, and right now I'm going to actually relay a real-life example. I was talking to a broker, a really good broker, who handles larger accounts, and I was explaining what we were doing in terms of the videos and the website, and the broker relayed this story. The broker told me that he had a very large, actually an internationally recognized account. And at 90 days before the expiration, the typical time frame, the broker went out to see the client. And the goal, of course, for the client, or for the broker, I should say, was to convince that client not to allow any other brokers to compete for that particular renewal. And the broker succeeded. The broker was told by the client, okay, go ahead, we're not going to have any brokers compete, you've been doing a great job, etc. So the broker immediately raced back to the office and told the clerical assistant in these words, go ahead and flood the market with applications. Instead of sitting down and putting together more arguments that could help the client lower their premium, whether it were loss arguments or exposure arguments, they simply raced to market. They flooded the marketplace with applications with the intention of making sure that no other broker could sneak up on them if the client changed his mind and decided to allow competition that particular year. So they flooded the market, and the broker then talked to the current insurance company, call it ABC Insurance Company. The underwriter asked, are you going to have any competition from other brokers this year? And the broker told the underwriter no. And so the understanding was clear between the broker and the underwriter. Number one, the underwriter would be very unhappy if that renewal didn't stay with that particular underwriter because, after all, the broker had no competition. And number two, there's no reason to drive the pricing down further since there is no competition. So the clerical assistant took the application and sent it out to market without any real supporting documentation that could create a good argument to lower the pricing, and succeeded in obtaining a whole bunch of declinations. Perhaps 10 insurance companies declined to the application sent by the clerical assistant. As the renewal was approaching, the current insurance company, called them ABC, released a quote. Sure enough, it was right at the expiring pricing, $225,000, say. And so the broker, knowing they had to do something besides show a bunch of declinations, went out and talked to another underwriter at another insurance company, call it XYZ. And the broker relayed that just by asking the question in a certain way, it was made clear to the underwriter at XYZ that they didn't really want to quote, didn't want to push the underwriter, didn't want to press their relationship with that underwriter by forcing the underwriter to actually quote. But the broker simply said it this way: you wouldn't be below, say, $285,000 for this account, would you? And the underwriter, knowing by the tone of the voice and by the way the question was asked, knew what the broker was doing. The broker was filling out the spreadsheet. So the underwriter, without even looking at the file really, said, no, we'd be much higher than $285,000 for that account. So the broker told the clerical assistant, plug XYZ Insurance Company in with an indication of $285,000 plus. The broker took the renewal proposal out to the client, expressed to the client, boy, we're lucky that ABC Insurance Company is hanging in there on the renewal. They kept your pricing the same. And look at this, so many insurance companies declined for a whole variety of reasons. And we only got one indication that was much higher. That was $285,000 versus the $225,000. So ABC's really hung in there with you. And the client expressed gratitude and relief that their pricing wasn't going up. And the broker said that immediately upon getting into the car and driving back to the office, the broker felt terrible because the broker realized that they had completely misrepresented the effort put in on behalf of the client. The client had been led to believe there was this great effort done, and really just the opposite had happened because the broker had succumbed to all the conflicts of interest that we're talking about here. Several years ago, the former Attorney General of New York, Eliot Spitzer, brought action against a particular brokerage firm for just this issue, this manufacturing of quotes. And we believe that this practice was very common back then. In no way, shape, or form was it limited to that one broker. We believe it is still very common today because, as we've talked about, there are conflicts of interest that face brokers that pit them against their clients' best interests at times. Good brokers don't succumb to these, but the temptations are certainly there.